I was just the surrogate. Now the biological mother wants me to breastfeed her twins too. I already gave her my body, my time, and my health. They call me wrong for setting boundaries after the birth. 3 months ago, I gave birth to twins. Not for me, but for my sister, whose body was ravaged by cancer. I thought it would be the greatest gift I'd ever give. I never imagined it would become a prison I couldn't escape. "You should just move in," she said last week, casually, as if that was normal. She'd converted her guest room into a nursery, for me. Not the babies. For me. She expected me to drop everything, my job, my child, my life, to nurse hers. When I said no, she broke down screaming. Her husband called me selfish. My mom begged me to be understanding. But I'm done. I'm not their dairy cow. My name is Rachel. I'm 31 years old, married, with a sweet 4-year-old daughter named Lily. I live a fairly normal life, full-time job, busy mornings, sticky countertops, and bedtime lullabies. But last year, I made a decision that would turn that normal life completely upside down. My older sister, Lauren, is 35. She's been through hell. 2 years ago, she was diagnosed with an aggressive form of ovarian cancer. The chemo saved her life but cost her the ability to have children. The diagnosis was shattering, and I remember the day she called me, sobbing. She had already frozen embryos before treatment, a desperate hope for the future. After she beat cancer, she and her husband, James, decided to try for a baby, using one of those embryos. But they couldn't find a surrogate willing to carry twins, and they couldn't afford the cost that came with it. That's when I stepped in. I offered. It was voluntary. I wasn't pressured. I loved her. I saw how much she suffered. And I thought, if I can do this for her, why not? 9 months later, I gave birth to 2 beautiful baby boys, Ezra and Eli. I cried when I held them. She cried harder. But that day, I thought it was over. I thought I could go back to being just Aunt Rachel. That was my mistake. At first, it was small. Lauren asked if I'd consider breastfeeding the twins. "Breast is best," she said, and I agreed. I was still producing milk, and I knew the benefits. I told her I could pump some, maybe nurse them once a day. But within a week, she was calling me 5, 6 times a day. "Ezra's fussing. Can you come nurse him? Eli isn't latching to the bottle. They're both crying. I think they just want you." I tried to set boundaries. I told her I was tired. That Lily needed me. That I couldn't keep coming over multiple times a day. She guilted me. She said the boys were growing dependent on my scent, my touch. That it would confuse them if I pulled away now. Her husband texted me, "You already did the hard part. Just stick with us for a few more months." My husband grew angry. He watched me spiral into exhaustion. I was barely sleeping, juggling my job, Lily, and constant demands from Lauren. Then came the final straw. I walked into Lauren's house one Saturday morning, twins wailing in the background. I went to the usual spot, the nursery, when I noticed something strange. One of the guest rooms had been redecorated. The crib had been moved. There were soft pillows, a rocking chair, and a small bed with my name, literally, embroidered on a pillow. Lauren appeared behind me, grinning like it was a baby shower surprise. "I thought this would make it easier," she said. "Now you can nap here, spend nights, whenever they need feeding." I stared at her. My mouth went dry. "Lauren, I'm not moving in here." Her smile dropped. Her eyes welled up. "But this is what's best for them. You know formula is full of chemicals. You promised you'd help." "I have helped. I gave you your babies." She started sobbing. "You're abandoning them. You're breaking your promise." That night, I didn't give them milk. I went home. I held my daughter and cried. The next morning, my mom called. She said I needed to be more understanding, that Lauren had been through so much and was probably just scared. But no one, not one person, asked how I was doing. After the bedroom reveal, everything changed. Or maybe, I just started seeing it clearly for the first time. I wasn't just my sister's surrogate anymore. I was her supply chain. Her convenience. Her emotional crutch. Her living, breathing feeding machine. I went home that day shaken. My husband, Matt, sat me down as soon as I walked through the door. "You have to stop this," he said, his voice calm but firm. "This isn't helping her anymore, Rach. It's enabling." I opened my mouth to defend her, the way I always did, but no words came out. I was tired. Bone-deep tired. My breasts ached constantly. I had permanent bags under my eyes, and Lily had started asking why I wasn't reading her bedtime stories anymore. I had already let my own life slide off the edge of a cliff trying to hold hers together. So, that night, I sent Lauren a long message. "I love you. And I love the twins. But I can't keep coming over 5 or 6 times a day. It's affecting my job, my health, and my family. I can come once in the morning and once at night, and I'll pump what I can in between. But that's all I can give." The response came an hour later, not from Lauren, but from James. "Wow. After everything she's been through? You're going to guilt her by disappearing now? We counted on you. You promised." That was the word they kept throwing at me, promised. Like I had signed some eternal contract not just to carry the twins, but to mother them after birth. To feed them with my own body. To abandon my own child and husband in the name of their new normal. I didn't reply. The next morning, I dropped off a cooler bag with pumped milk and left without entering the house. Lauren didn't text. She didn't call. Then came the meltdown. It happened on a Thursday afternoon. I was home early from work because Lily had a mild fever. I was tucking her into the couch with her favorite blanket when there was a knock on the door, loud, urgent, almost angry. I opened it to find Lauren standing there. Her face was puffy, eyes rimmed red, holding one twin in each arm like an emotional weapon. She pushed past me without asking. "You're seriously ignoring me now? Just cutting me off like I'm some stranger?" I stared at her. "You didn't even respond to my message." "Because it's ridiculous, Rachel. You're choosing your comfort over their health." "They're not my babies, Lauren." The words came out sharper than I intended, and I saw her flinch like I'd slapped her. She set the twins down in their carriers, stepped toward me, her voice trembling. "I let you into our life. I trusted you to help us build our family. You said you'd support me." "I did," I snapped. "I gave you 9 months of my body. I risked my health. I had emergency IVs during the 3rd trimester. I gave you those babies, and I'd do it again. But I am not your slave." Tears spilled down her face, but this time they weren't soft, grieving tears. They were furious. "You're abandoning them," she spat. "And one day, they'll know." Then she turned around, grabbed the twins, and walked out. My knees buckled. I sat down on the floor of my own hallway and sobbed. For 3 whole days, there was silence. After that day, the guilt campaign kicked into high gear. My mom started calling every day, sometimes twice. At first, it was subtle. "She's just emotional, sweetheart. You know she's still recovering from everything." Then came the shaming. "You said you'd help. You can't just walk away. That's not what family does." Even my dad, who rarely got involved, left a voicemail saying I should reconsider for the sake of the babies. No one was asking about Lily. No one was asking about Matt. No one was asking how I was managing 3 a.m. pumping sessions while trying to work full-time and stay sane. Meanwhile, Lauren's social media was filled with subtle jabs. Posts about the beauty of true motherhood. Hashtags like #sacrifice and #selfless love under photos of her holding the twins alone. One post even read, "Some women give birth. Others give up." I couldn't prove she was targeting me. But I could feel it in my bones. And yet, something inside me still broke for her. I couldn't stand the thought of the twins crying, hungry, while I sat on my couch doing nothing. So I compromised, again. I offered to ship frozen milk every other day. James said it was cold-hearted. Lauren said, "They don't need your milk. They need you." And that's when I realized this had nothing to do with the twins' health anymore. It was about control. She couldn't carry the babies, so she wanted to possess the only part of the process she still could, me. Matt was the one who finally drew the line. He came home from work one evening to find me crying in the kitchen, struggling to unlatch the breast pump while Lily screamed in the background. He turned it off, held my shoulders, and said, "You're done." I nodded, but I didn't move. "I mean it," he said. "No more milk. No more visits. If you won't protect yourself, I will." He was angry, not at me, but at what I had let myself become. And I knew he was right. That night, I blocked James's number. I muted Lauren's notifications. I told my parents that I needed space from all of them. And then I packed up the breast pump, placed it in the back of my closet, and finally slept through the night for the first time in months.